Welcome to Progressive Retail. I'm your host, Cory Mosley. On today's show, we're going to discuss crisis management in a social media world, plus my regular segments, Don't Be Ridiculous, Here's a Thought, and the Way I See It. Let's get started. The old saying in the marketplace used to be that one customer has a bad experience, they might tell 10 friends or relatives. Now, of course, the game has changed. In the world of viral videos, blogs, message boards, basically everyone can have a voice. One misstep or one wrong move will have you front and center with all those media personalities that you love to watch and never thought you'd be one day getting talked about by them. These issues can range from bad decisions or bad outcomes, even when the intent was good. And of course, the things that are out of your control, like manufacturer-generated problems and issues. What I want to share with you are some startling numbers that I shared at a recent keynote presentation I gave to dealers on the very topic I'm discussing today. Number one, according to Freshfields, Brockus, and Derringer research, 30% of company crisis can spread internationally within an hour. And while that might not surprise you, I found it frightening to learn from Continuity's Insight annual study that 60% of companies have no plan for social media during a PR disaster. Now, those findings are based on all business segments, so I have to believe that this number is 90% or even higher in our industry. As a viewer watching this, I pose this question to you right now. Does your dealership have a plan in the event of a social media disaster? What's important to note here is that before something becomes a crisis, it typically starts as an issue. So let me share with you 5 ways an issue becomes a crisis. Number one, the issue is not escalated to the correct person. We've got wrong decision makers. We've got people in an era where we want to handle things, trying to handle situations where they might not be equipped to do it. Number two, not handled to the customer's preference. A lot of times the solution we present is not the actual solution that the customer was looking for. Then we move from issue to crisis. Number three, not responded to in a timely fashion. A customer has raised an issue. Now, I want to say this. Nobody generally sets out to give bad customer service. So the idea, though, is customer service and satisfaction isn't tested until it's actually needed. So not responding to your customer in a timely fashion will certainly create an issue. Number four, the outside media gets involved, the thing that nobody wants to happen. All of a sudden, grandma got slammed into a car that she really couldn't afford. She wants to return it. She can't. Now News at 11 is showing up at your dealership. And finally, number 5, getting the public involved. So the general public, we love causes. People want to, they don't have to understand the cause to participate. Just watch some of the things that are going on in politics these days. Some of the comments that people have about their candidate or against the other candidate. Now, at the dealership level, when you operate with no plan, literally anything can happen. But the most common mistakes that get made when dealing with a PR crisis are the following. Number one, we have this tendency to want to react in the moment. Now, make no mistake, a lot of us are alpha males, alpha females. We're high A personalities, whatever spectrum you're into, whatever way you profile yourself or whatever profiles you've been through. So we react in the moment. We want to handle, we want to assert authority. So we react in the moment, and that's when mistakes happen. Number two, in keeping with that, we have this go from the gut approach. So we want to react and then go from our gut. And number three, connecting those dots is we don't want to consult anybody. So a decision maker simply wants to make a decision, solve the issue, or address the issue with how they see fit, which of course is going from the gut and not consulting someone that I believe the saying is sometimes cooler heads might want to prevail. Number 4, we try to justify first and rectify second. So I understand, yes, I want to fix the problem, but I want to tell you why it happened first, instead of addressing the customer or addressing the situation. And finally, all too often, we simply don't think big picture. We're talking about a short-term issue, and I've covered this topic on several of our Don't Be Ridiculous segments on previous shows. When it comes to managing the narrative and the PR process when faced with a crisis, you must engage the 5 W's. I want to share them with you now. Number 1, who will talk? Who is the person designated to represent the organization during a situation? It may not be the owner. It may not be the executive manager. It may be someone as an outside agency, or it may be someone within the organization that has a skill set particular to that area. Number two, what will they say? What will the commentary be? What will the fix be? What will the situation be? Is it simply we're looking into it, we're handling it? You see this again a lot of times in our media when a situation occurs. You know, we're not going to comment on an ongoing thing, but rest assured we are investigating. So what will they say? Number three, when will they communicate? When will the message go out? So are they communicating in the morning, in the afternoon? Are we getting on it immediately? Is it next 24 hours? Is it 48 hours? So when will they communicate? Number four, why they would speak, meaning why are they communicating now? So the person that's speaking, why are they qualified? Why is the dealership, why is the retailer taking this opportunity to speak out on the issue or to address the issue? And finally, where will they communicate? In media, we talk about optics all the time. We talk about the approach of how something looks and how a consumer might interpret that. So where you might communicate, if you've gotten a big disaster, many of you might have read several months ago about the situation with a dealer and some special needs kids and some comments that were made. And you know, there's an opportunity there to figure out how you communicate that message, how you get your message out, what action you will take. So all those 5 W's and coming together in that situation to address the issue to the satisfaction of the public and the media, all of which who had gotten involved. Here's what I want to do for you right now. Today I'm going to share with you an 8-step crisis plan for your store. Number one might be obvious, but sometimes you just got to take a deep breath and step back so you're not going from your gut, so you don't have a knee-jerk reaction. Number two, investigate and get the facts. You don't want to be loud and wrong, and you don't want to be wrong when a situation has already become a crisis, or is at least headed in that direction. So investigate and get the facts. Number three, designate the spokesperson. Know who's going to talk for your organization right now. If something happened right now that had the potential to go viral, who would talk? Number four, develop and deploy a holding statement. You see this in the media all the time. Something has happened, there's breaking news, and no one's available to comment quite yet. But what they have said is, we understand there's an issue, we're working on it, and we plan to communicate as soon as possible or within the next 24 hours. Again, you get that statement out in the marketplace. Number five, decide on the message and your position. So what is your position going to be? What is the message going to be? Number six, identify the key audiences. Who is it going out to? What is the best deployment method? Should this be on Facebook? Was this a viral issue? Was it a message board issue? Has this gone to the media yet? Do you need to get involved with engaging the media? So you have to identify the audience that you're trying to reach and identify, number seven, together the message and the platform for that deliverable. And number eight, you got to get the word out, you got to monitor and then react. It's not one and done. It's not, hey, we put out a statement, we've addressed it, it's over. Because there's going to be reactions that come out in the marketplace that you need to be prepared for and aware of. I'm going to make this 8-step plan. You don't have to pause the video or rewind it. I'm going to make this 8-step plan available on our website. Just visit mosleyautomotive.com/crisis plan to download. Now it's time for
Don't Be Ridiculous,
where the parties involved shall remain nameless, but the story must be shared. I thought it'd be fun to share a ridiculous story where the customer is the star this week. So here's a scenario. Customer is in the showroom working a new car deal. He's got a trade, but the trade is sight unseen. He convinces the sales manager and the sales professional to work the deal and commit on the trade. Then he says he will simply go and get the vehicle to finalize the deal. They come to an arrangement on figures, the customer leaves to get the trade, and about 30 minutes later, a flatbed pulls in with the trade-in, and half of the car is missing after being totaled in an accident. Now, of course, the customer thought he had won and was going to get one over on the dealer. Of course, someone simply had to say to this guy,
Don't be ridiculous.
Now, if you have a Don't Be Ridiculous story to share, please email it to us at cbtshow@corymosley.com. If we use your story in the show, we will send you your very own Don't Be Ridiculous t-shirt. Now, here's a thought. In keeping with our crisis management theme, I thought good old Ben Franklin could provide some insights, and here's what he had to say. Number one, never ruin an apology with an excuse. Number two, there is no little enemy. And number three, he that speaks much is much mistaken. Finally, The truth is simply the truth. We battle a stigma in the auto industry. Some of the reputation is deserved, some of it is not. Auto professionals can be disrespected and discounted for nothing other than being in the car business. We can be fodder for Subway commercials apparently and defined as used car salesmen, whatever that's supposed to mean. So now more than ever in today's social media climate, everyone at the dealership must take the time to do their part and protect themselves and the dealership. Be vigilant, and as my mother would say, nip issues in the bud before they become bigger issues. As I recently told the vice president of a retail group for a large department store chain I was having problems with, I'm just one customer, and the loss of my business alone won't really affect your business. But telling my story every time I can to anyone who will listen may slowly cost you business over time. And when you are wondering why you didn't hit the sales targets, think of me and the decisions that are being made that affect customer loyalty and repeat business, and the things that your company might be doing to drive your customers to your competitors. And that simply is the way I see it. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to go to CoryMosley.com/CBT show to submit show ideas, give feedback, or even be a guest on a future show. This has been Progressive Retail, exclusively on the CBT Automotive News Network. I'm Cory Mosley, and I'll see you next week.